Let's move on to the other big tech story of the day. And this is Ant Group, the world's most valuable unicorn, of course, formerly Ant Financial, but announcing that they will be coming to the public markets in a dual listing. Let's bring in Emily McCormick to break that down for us. Emily, we have, this is kind of an IPO that's been really highly coveted. The dual listing here, though, between Hong Kong and Shanghai, certainly a significant one for the region.
Absolutely, Kiko, and really auspicious time. Think about this decision that Ant Group announced to do these dual listings in Hong Kong and in Shanghai, and notably bypassing the US, the New York Stock Exchange, and the NASDAQ for decision. And this, of course, comes as there have been heightened tensions between the US and China because of the coronavirus pandemic and because of the Trump administration's criticism of China's handling of the pandemic. Now, the increased tensions that we're seeing because of the new national security laws from mainland China on Hong Kong. So this dual listing would reportedly have Ant Group seek a valuation of more than $200 billion. And that's according to reports from Bloomberg and the Wall Street Journal, and would make this one of the biggest global listings of the year. And as mentioned, this would, of course, give Ant Group access to the public markets and liquidity to help it grow, but really a big deal here when we think about what this means for the bourses that it's going to potentially be listing on. Now, of course, we have seen the Hong Kong Stock Exchange come into the spotlight late last year, became the home for some of Alibaba's shares after that company made another listing late last year after its 2014 original listing on the New York Stock Exchange. Now, Alibaba does own about 1/3 of Ant's shares, and it did say in a statement, quote, Ant Group is an important member of the Alibaba digital economy, and we believe Ant's listing plan will be beneficial to its future growth, creating value for its users, partners, and shareholders. Now, Alipay, which did grow out of a digital payment system on Alibaba's e-commerce website, does now have 900 million active users in China who use that mobile app. It is, of course, quite ubiquitous in the country. And so, of course, seeing Ant Group potentially go public, potentially this year, is something that is going to be a big deal for the company and for the capital markets that it actually is then going to be listed on. Akiko?
And Emily, quickly, the other part of this dual listing in Shanghai, the Star Market, this is an exchange that President Xi unveiled last year as a direct competitor to the NASDAQ to attract some of these big Chinese tech names. It's had a pretty impressive run.
It definitely has, especially when you consider it's only about a year old at this point. And that Star Stock Exchange, it's known in full as the Science and Technology Innovation Board. One of the reasons for its success so far is the fact that the Star Exchange has no limits on price moves for a stock's first 5 days in trading. Now, there's a 44% limit in either direction for the rest of China's market on the first day and 10% thereafter. So really removing these restrictions has meant that there have been huge moves in some of the stocks on their first day on these exchanges. So just to give a couple of examples, we saw Quantum C-Tech make its debut on the Shanghai Star Market on July 9th. Its shares settled higher by 924% that day. So really seeing a huge opportunity for growth there, but also adding to that sort of speculative investment opportunity that we're seeing in China as a whole right now, particularly for these tech companies. Akiko?
A 924% pop. That's a pretty significant one. All right, we're going to continue to track that. Thanks so much for that, Emily.